Okay, everyone, we're back again for the next part of our Pathway for Growth conference. If you enjoyed the workshops, please let us know what it was that you enjoyed, what useful takeaways that you gleaned from those workshops, and anything that you plan on putting in practice. Thank you to all of our workshop facilitators. So I hope you're all topped up with the teas and the coffees. Perhaps you enjoyed a snack from the DELI LITES sandwich shop or company. DELI LITES is, of course, a company that has grown from small beginnings into a dominant food-to-go product. On the shelves, you'll see them in many of our supermarkets and convenience stores. The dynamic duo of Brian and his wife, Jackie Reid, they've built this company from really small beginnings into a company operating in international markets now, employing nearly 300 people, despite there being a global pandemic and, of course, everything around Brexit too. So we're now delighted, see what I did there, to hear the DELI LITES story from co-founder and CEO, Brian Reid. So Brian, you're so welcome. And I know you're going to speak for about 20 minutes again, and then we will have 10 minutes for questions. So don't forget to pop any questions that you have when you hear this magnificent story after we hear from Brian. So over to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for asking me to take part. So you have a short presentation starting with a video just to give a bit of a flavour of the company, and then I'll run into a presentation with a bit of a history of the timelines and stuff around DELI LITES. So sit back, enjoy. If you have popcorn, get the popcorn out and relax. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know who DELI LITES are, we're a sandwich company founded in 1994 as a family business with my wife and her 4 sisters who went off to America and worked in New York in the deli scene in New York, and were inspired to come back and open a sandwich bar on Monaghan Street in Newry in 1994. So we're now an Irish food-to-go producer and an international food solutions provider, supplying fresh product all over Ireland and now into international markets, employing 300 people and supplying 9 different countries. So a wee bit of a timeline of the journey of DELI LITES. We started in 1994, as I said, and you'll see a picture there of the first sandwich bar on Monaghan Street in Newry. And you'll see the old blue and yellow sign that was on the first shop. Now we've since moved shop on down Monaghan Street, but that was the very first sandwich bar that we opened. And at the time in Newry and in Ireland, there was very few sandwich bars around. So the idea that came back from America was one of the first sandwich bars to open in Ireland. I think O'Brien's were around at the time, but it was quite early and quite different coming back, and there was a few raised eyebrows that we were going to be selling sandwiches in Newry at the time. Then in 96, you'll see that the logo changed as we went along. You'll see the yellow and white logo, and then we go around down to the black and red. But in 96, we opened in Dundalk on Clonbrassil Street in Dundalk. Edel, one of the sisters, went off and opened in Dundalk, and it was a roaring success as well. And then in 1998, myself and Jackie, who were at the catering college together, I was at the catering college, Jackie was at Newry College studying media, I think. We started working in the sandwich bar on Monaghan Street at night, making sandwiches. And then we decided to go on a different journey as a business, but we seen an opportunity that the sandwich bars was working, and we wanted to then pursue DELI LITES in a different format. And it was an exciting journey that we've been on ever since. So that was in 1998. And we also opened in Warrenpoint then after that. And the DELI LITES opened in the Keys food court then in Newry, which has been a raving success as well. So move on to 2007. Myself and Jackie, who had been building the business in the early 2000s, then went on and opened and bought a 25,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Warrenpoint. So we had been making product in the shop in the late 90s in Monaghan Street. The girls let us work away and did our own thing. And then we moved to Warrenpoint, set up a unit in an old fish factory in Warrenpoint. And we sort of outgrew that 3 times. We opened 2 different units after that. And you'll see there a picture of the sisters in Monaghan Street, the new shop on Monaghan Street together. And they're still very much involved in the retail end of the business, but myself and Jackie went in a different direction. So in 2015, we won a Great Taste Award for our salted caramel brownie, which was probably the start of an award journey that we've been on ever since. And it sort of kick-started us putting ourselves out there a wee bit more as a business and a brand. We'd been contract manufacturing for a long time before that. And we sort of never put our heads above the parapet to go in for any awards, but it was actually the bakery manager at the time said, listen, we have a great product here, the salted caramel brownie, why don't you put it into the Great Taste Awards? So we put it in. We won 2 gold stars, and the rest is history. It's still one of our best selling products. And we have an award-winning artisan bakery here in Warrenpoint, a purpose-built bakery here in Warrenpoint. And the export journey began in 2017. Myself and Jackie won a contract to supply the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And it sort of took off after that. So we're still on that journey, and we're now supplying into 9 different countries. Picture of myself, I won the IOD International Director of the Year last year. And the export journey has continued, and won multi contracts in a number of countries, just selling our frozen heat-to-eat products into retailers and a number of food service outlets internationally. So what was the business all about? Why did myself and Jackie go into the business, and what was the growth story of the business, and why did we come out of a sandwich bar, and what was behind it all? So we seen the shop as a concept. We knew that it was working, so we seen that people wanted flavors and combinations that were different. So we knew it would work when we took those products out into the marketplace in a pre-packed format. We worked at night time in Monaghan Street in the shop. We worked at nights. We delivered during the day and worked during the night, and we got very little sleep for about 3 years. But it was a pop-up business, really, to trial the market and see was it going to work. We knew it would, but we had to trial it anyway. Minimal viable product is a concept that you would trial small amounts of something in the market to see does it work, get feedback, and then make the changes in your business. And we were doing that. We didn't even realize we were doing it. We moved 3 times in Warrenpoint. We outgrew our unit quite quickly, and we had to move, so that nothing stayed the same for very long. It was a very fluid, very changeable business we were in. And every 3 years we had to outgrow our units. So we purchased a site in 2007, and that was pre-financial crisis, which was quite a big undertaking for us at the time, because the world was in crisis in 2008 with the financial crisis. We had made a big commitment, but it was something that we now look back on and think we had to do that. We had to take that big risk. Today we have a 32,000 square foot multi-site facility in Warrenpoint with a purpose-built bakery and an ever-expanding production site where we make all our products. We've all proper facilities. We've BRC double grade A for 6 years now, so we're going from strength to strength here. And it still feels like it's year one. It still feels like it's every day we walk in, it's like a new day. It's like a new business, and that's the way we want it to remain. And I think if you can do that in your business and keep it like that, you'll do okay. And we constantly have to reinvent ourselves as a business. We're constantly rebranding, tweaking the brand, redeveloping ourselves, investing in ourselves and our people. I think you have to do that in business. So the challenges, what were some of the challenges along the way? People are talking about Brexit and have been talking about Brexit and the border closing. The border closed for food in 2001 with foot and mouth. A lot of people maybe don't remember it, but we were producing product in Newry, Warrenpoint, and we had to get those products across the border, but the border closed with foot and mouth. So we had to set up a production unit in Dundalk at the back of the shop on Clonbrassil Street. We were allowed to do it. And we had to service our customers in Dublin and Galway who were buying products, so we just had to do it. It was a problem, it was a challenge, and we got over it. Financial crisis in 2008 was another one that was a big challenge for us. And we were seeing banks in a lot of trouble. Businesses were closing all around us. We just taken on big debt. We had to work through it, but there was nothing else that was going to stop us, so we had to do it. Brexit, we're 5 years down the line from the referendum now, and we're still no further on as to where, is it going to stay the way it is? Is there going to be changes? But we just have to accept that the challenge was put to us. We made plans and we're working our way through it. COVID-19, the last 18 months has been really difficult. But we just got the team together and said we have to work through it, guys. This is another challenge. It's part of being a business, part of being an entrepreneur. You have to just work through whatever is put in front of us. So we're still working our way through COVID, but I would say I always look at the likes of Brexit and COVID as short term. I would say the environment and sustainability is a longer term problem that we need to think about. And then the other one would be challenge would be finding, recruiting and retaining people in a small place like Warrenpoint. It's been difficult. Warrenpoint wouldn't have had any other really food businesses, food manufacturers in the area. So we had to prove ourselves by working in the food industry here, and it's been tough. It's a small provincial town, so we were competing against the likes of Newry, Belfast, Dublin for staff, and it's been really, really difficult. But we've worked through it, and it's now a great place to be in business. The opportunities, well, being a business, you have the opportunity to be your own boss. And myself and Jackie, we're always going to be our own boss. I think Jackie's still my boss, but just being in control of your destiny and being in control of how your life is going to live and how it's going to play out. You're in control. When you have your business, it can be lonely, but you're always in control, and that's something that we like. And you're in control of your own destiny. Open borders. We were born after the peace process as a business, and we're used to free trade, we're used to free borders, open borders, and it's something, being a business so close to the border, it's something that we want to see continue, and that's all we know. All we know is free movement of people, free movement of product, and we want it to remain like that. Celtic Tiger has been another big opportunity for us during the early 2000s. The money around was serious in Dublin, Cork, Galway. Disposable income was very, very high, so we benefited from that in terms of people buying our product, and we really built the business on that. Think big and plan ahead. You've always got to have big plans, big audacious goals, and make the plan ahead. And if you do that, business, the world's your oyster. The cost of production in Northern Ireland was cheaper for us than it was in the south, so we were able to compete in the southern market. We got a lot of help to export into the south, and that's something that we benefited out of where we are. And the Northern Ireland Protocol is something that I've been quite vocal about in terms of the benefits of it and how we've got access compared. Now, nothing will compare to where we were before Brexit, but the Northern Ireland Protocol gives us access to the European markets, and I've been quite vocal that I would like to see that remain in place for trade and business. So what do? We're an artisan bakery, contract manufacture sandwiches, and we're a solutions-focused food producer. That's what we do in a nutshell. We're award-winning. We win awards. We win awards for a number of reasons. Number one, we feel we make good products, and it's been tested, and we've won awards for them, but we also do it for staff morale, for the flywheel that it creates within the business. It generates more momentum. It gets the team behind the goal, which is we're here to service our customers and produce the best products we can. And you can see that we've won quite a number of awards, more recently probably than before. Myself and Jackie are quite private people, so we didn't put ourselves out there a lot. It's only in the last few years we've done it. But we've won a number of this Director of the Year, obviously the business. Jackie's won 2 Women in Business Awards, and we're up this year we've been nominated for the Entrepreneur of the Year, myself and Jackie, which was very humbling, and you know, we'll see how it goes, but it's just brilliant to be involved in that network. So those are some of the people that we supply in Ireland today in our fresh market. So some big retailers, some big cafe chains and that, and you know, they come to us because we solve their problems, we help them, we're seen as in partnership with them, and that's the way our business is structured. We're here to help the customer, and if you remain focused on your consumer and your customer, your business will thrive, because we're there to help each other. It's a win-win, and our customers are testament to that. They love working with us. We have a great relationship with them, and hopefully that will remain in the future. Now, we have other customers obviously outside of Ireland, but I just wanted to give you a flavour of some of the customers that we have in this market. So how do we do it? Partnerships and our people. Our people are key. Our culture in the business is fantastic. We work really hard to build a culture within the organisation. We treat our people well. We try to do the best for them. We serve our people. I'm a CEO, and my role is to serve our people, and that's what we do. And we're service minded, and we have a great team of people focused on the one goal. Our brand is important to us, and we have a number of brand values that we anchor to. When times get tough, you revert back to your brand values, which are very, very important, especially when times are tough. Put them on the wall, and remember, when you're having a bad day, look, what should we do? Let's be responsible here. Let's be positive. Let's talk to each other in the right way. So those are really key in terms of how we run our business. Innovation is another big part of our business, and we won a number of innovation awards, and going to the likes of the lunch exhibition, which is photographs from in London, and going there and winning an award for innovation against some big companies, and a small company from Warrenpoint going over there and winning awards. And we've always been an innovative business, not just from a food perspective, but from the way we do things in business in general. We try to be innovative. We try to think differently. If you think like everybody else, you will be like everybody else, and we want to be different. That's a picture of myself and Ronan and Donna at the Gulf Foods in Dubai last year, where we had the stand and we were over there talking, selling products, and it was great. It was a great feeling. We won some business over there. So if we can do it, anybody can do it. Have global ambitions, and we have global ambitions. And I think that if you put it out there and think big, you will achieve big. You have to always think that we're now living in a very well connected world, in a global world. Everything is global now. You have to think globally. You have to think like your competition is not just here in Ireland, not just in the UK. It's in Europe. It's all over the world. So social media has brought us all together. So think big and have big ambitions. Relationships are key, and no more so than at the moment. Invest NI, the Chamber, obviously, Manufacturing NI, the Sandwich Association, the UK and Logistics. You go to those guys when you have a problem, reach out to them, they'll help you. Build the relationships with them, listen. It's not all one way. It has to be, do more listening than you do talking. Actually listen to people and take advice, and they're always open. The doors are always open. So I would advise companies to engage with your bodies and take advice from them. And one of the things that we've done more recently is apply for B Corp certification, which is a purpose-driven certification which brings together sustainability, your goals and how you treat your people, your governance of your business, and looking after your suppliers and partnership, and making sure that we don't leave a footprint, we leave a legacy as a business. And we're conscious we're here at the foot of the mountains, and we don't want to be damaging anything or being a bad producer in this area. We're very conscious. And B Corp, we'll hopefully have it in 6 months. There's a 7-month or 8th month waiting list to get it certified. So we're hoping to have it in the autumn. So that's something we've been very focused on recently. Social and brand is another big part of our business, and it's more so in the last few years. We've invested quite well in our social media channels, and being a social business, talking to your customers, turning up in the right places at the right time, listen to them, not just one way. Again, you have to communicate and answer your customers and take the feedback and take the complaints, whatever they are, take them on the chin and see them as an improvement. But we've a really good social presence at the moment, and we're going to keep building on it. And I would advise every company to turn up, have a good profile, and push your business online, because that's where everybody is at the moment. And really that's it. That's a picture of a GridServe fully electric fuel court in the UK, which kind of indicates that the world is changing, and we as a business and as business people have to change with it and have to innovate. Nothing's going to stay the same. So I thought that was a fitting end to the presentation, and thanks very much for listening, and hopefully it gave you a good overview of the timelines and how myself and Jackie have built the business. Thanks.
Unbelievable, Brian. Thank you. It really is such a success story. I was doing the maths there and I thought, gosh, it's 20 years. It's almost 30 years that you've been going. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
94. Such great responses coming in as well. You'll probably know a few names up there. Maeve, McCurvey, brilliant success story. Huge congratulations to you both. Dee Hanlon wants to know, what method did you use to get feedback on your sandwiches and the new flavors you tried? So market research, how did you do that? Good question.
Well, we have taste panels, and we've invited people in from the outside. We have a concept that I'm very keen to push in the business, which is getting outside influence into the business. So how do we get feedback from the outside? So before we launch products, we have taste panels. We bring people in and ask them to try them, get feedback. We scrutinize. For the last 12 weeks, we've been tasting Heat to Eat products at a senior management meeting, scrutinizing them, pulling them apart, and listening to the customer. Just if you get an email, if you get a comment on a social media post, you take it and you really investigate it and treat it like it's the biggest issue that day. Because if you're not listening to your customers and you're not listening to your feedback, you're not in business.
It is amazing. And just even I've jotted down a few things there, even what you talked about innovation the whole way through. I love that whole, that whole concept that you're constantly reinventing yourself. You're constantly tweaking, you're constantly reinvesting in you, in your team, in your business. You never sit back and think that's what we do and that's only what we do. But some people watching this find that difficult, you know, the concept of changing. Maybe it's working fine at the minute and you don't know how far to go to change what you do. And a lot of people asking there about innovation. I mean, you have to be brave to do these things as well.
You do have to be brave, but you have to be open. You have to be prepared to listen to hard feedback. Go out of your business and go and talk to other people that are maybe in a different sector or a different type of business, and listen to them and get feedback from them, and honest, and find people around you that aren't telling you what you want, what they think you want to hear. Tell people that are going to talk to you and give you feedback that you really need to hear. And you know, in business, people tend to cling on and hang around you and want to give you, you know, all the positivity, but you have to be really honest with yourself and find people that are going to give you good, honest feedback. And I think just travel. Myself and Jackie traveled a lot. We went abroad a lot. We explored. It's the old Irish explorer in us all, where you want to travel, you want to find new things. And we always went away to see what best in class was. We traveled a lot to the likes of Lisbon, the likes of Vegas. We went to California to look and see what the food trends. And more recently, we've invested with universities to tell us what the graduates are coming. Like, the partnership bit was very important, because you could, the likes of the university, I never mentioned the Southern Regional College, who've been a big support to us as well, but they, going to guys like that, they're going to get information that is coming to the market very soon about your area and your sector, and bring those ideas in. And we're trialing a few different concepts like that at the minute. If that is a help, I don't know, but I would.
No, at all. It's so useful. It absolutely is. And, you know, you and Jackie work so well together. I have to ask that question. You know, you're married, you're partners in business. Yeah. Do you get, and I know that both of you have been nominated for the EY Entrepreneur of the Year. You're both finalists. You're not competing against each other there, are you?
No, we're in the same team. It'll be interesting if we were against each other. But no, myself and Jackie have been in business together since we really met. And we went away traveling, came back and got into business before we even got married. So we don't know anything different. And we have a great work-life balance. We tend not to talk about work at home as much as we used to in the early days. And we've a great, and also Jackie's family's in the business as well. So Jackie's sisters are all still involved in DELI Lites. And we just try to balance it where we can, and not talk about it on a Sunday over dinner or something, you know. So you have to discipline yourself to do that. It's not easy, but
the family business and the family dynamics and the in-laws and everything, you've got it all going on there. Questions coming in, Brian, so I can't hog you all to myself. There's a great question there from S. McKinley. The amazing success story. They're looking back, what was the biggest risk you took and what gave you the courage to take it?
The biggest risk we took was buying a site here in Warrenpoint, at a time that the property market was at the top of its peak. And we bought it, we put everything on the line for it, and it paid off, but it was a huge risk at the time. We probably bought bigger than we needed. At one stage we thought, how are we ever going to fill this place? But we're now busting at the seams. We're having to do extensions and stuff at the minute. So it's paid off, but it's back to the long-term vision. We had a long-term vision at the time, and we sort of could see that if things align, it'll work. But it was a huge risk. I mean, it was a huge risk at the time for us personally, professionally. Yeah.
But you did it, and you're still continuing to innovate. And you know what? It's such a great story. And Ricky Neal, who I know was delivering one of our workshops today from RNN Communications, she just says, this is how to tell your brand story. Super impressed by the B Corp ambition. This demonstrates innovation right through the business, from products to processes. So that's really what it's all about, and getting the brand right, and getting all of the visuals and the conversations, and it's the stories all the time, Brian, isn't it?
It's the stories, and it's consistent, and having the confidence to tell your story. Everybody has got a story. Every business has got a story, but you have to dig deep to find what is the story. But that's where I would advise people to get advisors, maybe non-exec directors and stuff like that. Bring in people from the outside to tell you what is staring in the face. Sometimes you don't realize that everybody has a story, but on the B Corp, yeah, it's a huge part of our plans for the future is something I feel very passionately about. We've always been a sustainable business here. We've had solar panels for years. We've always done things well. And it also brings the charity work. We do quite a bit of charity and local community sponsorship. So it brings all that together in one place and it gives everybody a sense of the business is not necessarily just about profit. It's about purpose and the community and all those other things.
I think that purpose absolutely shines through. And, you know, if you look in the chat afterwards, it's really lovely. There's so many, you know, congratulations, brilliant story. Staff past and present are commenting there. Karen Mooney says, great story, Brian. I worked for DELI Lites when you first opened in the Keys and always enjoyed the job and loves eating there today still, which actually there's a testimony right there. That's, you know, good food. When the staff want to eat there.
Yeah, we've had fantastic support from the Newry area. It's just unbelievable. Like, I mean, the business wouldn't be where it is without the Newry community. So we'd like to say thanks for that. But I mean, it's unbelievable the support we've got locally. Really, thanks.
Don't forget, we're live tweeting from the Newry Chamber account over on Twitter using the hashtag NISBC 2021. So if you've liked Brian's story today, why not share it? Very inspiring from Ruth Ellison, the USP for you. What is that yourself, Jackie, and the team believe sets you apart from previous, current and future potential competitors? So you said it's about being different all the time.
Yeah.
Why are you different?
Why are we different? I think we're genuine, and I think that we talk passionately about our business, and we are passionate about what we do. We're not pretending, or it's not. We're foodies. I mean, I was at the catering college, and Jackie was working in the sandwich bar. We're food people. We're foodies, and have always been foodies. And when you're in the food business, there's no hiding place in the food business. It's either you're either in it or you're not. Yeah. And we're food people, and I think that when we're talking to customers, they sense that. We're very passionate about the business, and we're very passionate about, Jackie is very, very passionate about talking about the business and selling the business. And you can see that, you know, we know what we're talking about, and we now have the years of experience behind us as well.
So Richard Ramsey, who was speaking earlier, an economist, of course, loving your story and hearing about the success, wants to ask you about how you see the food to go changing in working from the home environment, and also electrification of cars and how that will impact on petrol stations of the future. A couple of questions in there.
Two big tough ones, Richard. Thanks.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah.
Go back.
You did the tough stuff.
Backwards on the fuel bit, we've done a lot of studies because we're supplying into the Nordics, and Norway is actually way ahead in terms of EV conversion. So we've done a few studies on EV and what's happening in the market in Norway. So people are charging their cars at home. They're not charging them in the filling stations, so they don't have any reason to stop on a filling station anymore. But they will go to the filling station if the food offering is compelling enough, and there's services at the garages and stuff. So the change is happening, and the forecourts are now looking at their business models to see how do we cater for a meal, or how do we cater for food to capture people and offer a service at a gym or all that sort of stuff. So that market is certainly changing. And the first question was
working from home.
Working from home. Yeah, well, one of the things that's changing in the food industry at the minute is waste. Well, there's going to be a huge focus on food waste. So the whole idea of fresh food sitting on shelves and then being dumped is going to really come into the spotlight, I think, because of sustainability. So, and people working from home, we've noticed that a lot of people want the hybrid model, where they want to work from home a few days, and then they also want to go into the office. But while they're working from home, they still nip down to their cafe, they still nip down to their local convenience store. And we have seen our convenience sales hugely increase over COVID. I mean, people are going shopping in their local Musgrave Centre store or their local Nisa, whatever, and buying food there. So we've actually benefited out of it quite well. And during the pandemic, we diverted some of our innovation towards eat at home products, which is quite good. But we've seen a huge bounce back in the last 6 or 8 weeks in the business, in terms of people are back out again, so it's good.
Right, and you're capturing both markets as well. So you know, you're not just limiting yourself to those back on the road. You're also, I mean, the coffee culture, the pick up as you go. Everybody's just, and you want something that's nicer. And the fact that it is this brilliant Irish food to go, I just can't believe that really, when you look at what you've done, and you're now exporting to 9 countries around the world. Do you pinch yourself at that?
Yeah, sometimes, but we just every day we just come in like you have to reinvent yourself all the time. So your mindset has to change. You're no longer working in a smaller company, but the problems are still the same. It's sales focused, it's quality focused, it's people focused. It's just the same things, only slightly different. So now we're talking to international customers. We're learning about their cultures and how we have to communicate with them. But yeah, I mean, it still feels like it's the same. We're still producing products, and we capture the freshness here on site, which is exportable. So no, we're just getting used to it, really, to be
And I
honest.
love that the whole concept started after a trip to New York. Were you
Yeah.
on that trip with Jackie and the
No.
sisters? No, so that was the girls, and they just thought, I love this deli culture. We can do this at home. And I was doing a little bit of swatting up for chatting to you today, last night, and there's an ambition to be selling Deli Lites in New York. You're going to take this product to New York. That's when you know you've really made it.
Yeah, well, it was actually Siobhan and Caroline and Adele had been working in a really high-end deli in New York, and they'd loved it, and they thought we can come back and we can do this in our own hometown here, and they came back and they did it. And there is an ambition there to take that back to where the vision started from, which is in New York, and we have already been making some inquiries, and there's some leads that we can follow up on that. And believe it or not, the Irish food and Irish way of business is well received in the US. So, I mean, I don't think we're that far away from it, to be honest.
Love it. Think big. And if you need anybody to come with you for that trip to New York, I'm glad to lend a hand. Definitely. I can butter some bread if that's even done in the sandwich world anymore. Brian Reid, it has been wonderful to hear from you. Again, the praise coming in for your talk today and for what you've achieved. Caroline McKeown, fantastic and inspirational story. Brian, Maeve Finnegan, fantastic. Brian, lovely to see a local company who thinks big, such a brilliant success story. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm afraid we've run out of time. I know there are many more questions there that we didn't quite get to, but I think Brian covered an awful lot in his presentation. So continued success, and I look forward to that when you make it to New York. That will definitely come full circle, and I hope that happens sooner rather than later. In the meantime, keep innovating, keep being fresh, keep being different, keeping standing out, and you have inspired so many at the conference this morning. Thank you very much to Brian Reid.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.